I'm Carla Sontag, and we are here today, The Heart of Business, with Joel Grieshaber. And he's here to tell us about his business. So that business is Albuquerque Luggage and Zipper Repair. But before we get into that, let's get into you. Tell me, where are you from originally?
New Jersey.
New Jersey.
Exit 130 off the Parkway.
What brought you to New Mexico?
Fate. Actually, I was born and raised in Somerville, New Jersey, and then I went to Rutgers. Finally got my wits about me, went back in 79, graduated 84, and then I thought I can go anywhere I want. So I headed west.
Really? So you didn't have a final destination in mind?
San Diego. That was going to be it because, I like the ocean. I'm a surfer, and my brother lives out there still. So that was going to be it. That was going to be the end destination. I was going to be there for the rest of my life.
Ah.
But as fate would have it, I ended up coming back and ended up in New Mexico in 1985, November.
Huh.
So it'll be 40 years this next couple of months.
Was there something specific that brought you back here?
At that time, I was with my then wife, and she wanted to try Santa Fe. And we tried that on for about 2 days and then realized that the work is going to be down in Albuquerque. So we headed south to Albuquerque.
All right. And what did you do before you got into this business you're in currently?
Well, after I graduated college and I went out to San Diego, I worked music because I'm a musician. I was in a couple bands out there, and then that same thing continued here. A month after I was here, I got picked up by a couple bands, was on the road with one for about 6 months, and then we had a kid on the way, and I said, I need to get a second job to support this kid and my wife. So I made an affirmation that I was going to apply for 4 jobs, and I'm going to get one. And I did. And I worked for Lieber's Luggage of New Mexico. They're on Manal. It's a retail store. And they saw my potential and, aptitude for fixing things. I always like to fix things. And then a year after I struck out on my own and started Albuquerque Luggage and Zipper Repair. It's at abqrepair.com. It's one of the best URLs in Albuquerque.
Well, that's great. And a little bit on the band. What do you play? And
I'm a
are
drummer.
You still?
Yeah, I'm still playing.
Okay.
A drummer, vocalist by trade at night. I'm actually playing a gig tonight out in Bernalillo and Saturday, and got a couple of gigs next weekend. So it's a sideline, but like they say, keep your day job because, music is a passion. It's not necessarily a way of earning your full-time income.
So how did you get into this line of work? You said you like to fix things, but what led to opening the business?
Well, when I worked at the luggage retail store, I found that, I could apply my skills in wanting to fix things to luggage. Now, we can go back to when I graduated high school. My father was an elementary school principal. And, he said, damn it, we're going to find out what you want to be and where your aptitudes lie. So he took me to this B'nai B'rith Foundation, which did a 2-day battery of tests, personality, orientation, inventories, and aptitude tests and stuff. It was pretty grueling, and I couldn't stand it. And the odd thing is, it came out saying he should be a dentist. And now when I reflect on that, Carla, what I'm doing is I'm working on zippers. They've got teeth. I'm working inside suitcases, inside bags, It's so much like being a dentist. So I think I really found my niche.
Wow, what an interesting correlation there. So tell me more about your business. Who is your average customer?
We have a wide array, Carla, of customers. And there is no season because of that. I mean, I get people from Sandia National Labs, Los Alamos National Labs. I have every denomination of law enforcement comes into my shop. I've got a lot of students coming from UNM, from the campus, because I fix backpacks. I also fix briefcases, which, for the professors, see a lot of them, the faculty of UNM and CNM. It just goes on and on. A lot of retirees, people who are my age but retired about 10 years ago and are, traveling and seeing different places around the world. So I get lots of interesting stories from them. So it's a pretty wide clientele.
Well, that's good. What do you find is the number one issue that you're asked to repair?
Failed zippers, and it's usually just a slider. It can be a quick fix. It's that thing that you move when you go up and down. It could be on a jacket, on a tent, on a suitcase, on some tactical gear, whatever has a zipper. Boots to body bags, I've done all of it. So yeah, the fixing zippers is the number one thing that we do there. Yeah.
Wow. Well, and you mentioned travel. I've noticed, Joel, that you're doing some traveling these days. Are you still working full time in the business? And how do you handle that?
Yes. My wife, however, has retired, and I didn't think she would retire. She was an architect and loves what she did, but she stayed retired. And I was like, okay, what am I going to do? And she said, yeah, what are you going to do about the shop? And I said, well, how about we make a compromise? If you come help me at the shop, she's very efficient and organized, and we could compress 4 weeks of work into 3 weeks and take a week off. And she said, let's try it. And that was 2 years ago. And she will attest to the fact that I've made good on my promise. We've been traveling an average of a week a month and going on lots of trips.
Wow. Well, that's great. That's a good way to do it.
So it's kind of a balance between work and play, or as we say in Spanish, divertimiento, vacationing, divert from your work and do something different.
And you don't have employees, is that correct? It's you and your wife running this?
At one time we did. I had as many as 4 employees and 2 drop-off points, one on the west side of Albuquerque and one in Santa Fe. Right now it's just myself, and my wife is helping out as a kind of a non-employee helper. But yeah, she's really an asset.
Well, that's great. So, Joel, when you say non-employee asset or helper, does that mean she's not paid?
I guess you could say that she's paid weekly, WEAKLY. And the truth is that I haven't even taken a salary. I just turn the money back in. Just like the work I do, which is recycling things, I recycle the money back into it. And that was one of the things that helped me survive the shutdown of COVID, because I was deemed to be non-essential.
Wow. That's a tough way to describe any person or business, isn't it? So what's the biggest challenge that you faced over the years in this business?
Government. So, but I can say that I proudly survived 2001, 9/11, because during the 90s, my accounts were 70% airline. I would just stack up the papers at the end of the month, A to Z, American, Continental, Delta, Braniff, all the ones that are gone, TWA, right down to United. And so I realized I'd have to look for other markets. So that was a challenge, finding other markets. Then there was the crash of 2008. And we got through that, and then there was COVID. So yeah, these are challenges that you deal with, and the different decisions that we make locally and nationally in government do affect small business greatly.
And during the COVID lockdown, did you continue to operate, or what did you do?
I was concerned that I might get fined if I did do that. So I decided to revert to the honeydew list, and that honeydew list, this never seems to end. You can check off all the things, and it keeps growing. Well, I did a lot of things around the house, things of our own that need to be fixed, because you know the story about the cobbler with holes in his shoes. That's kind of like us. And but yeah, after the 10 weeks were up, I went back to work June 1st, and it took me a year to get back up to about 90%, from 0 to 90%.
It's a long time.
Yeah, takes time.
And now with your revised schedule, do you post that when you're going to be out, or how do you handle that with your customers?
Again, we go to that URL, abqrepair.com. That is the best place to go to find out where, when we're closed. We may not say where we're going, but we let people know that way rather than posting a sign on the windows, because that's not a good way to do it anymore. So yeah, abqrepair.com. If people go right to that website, you will get the current correct hours. Other sites like Google, Yelp, and Bing, sometimes they're hard to change, and they may have some old hours on there and don't reflect our closure times, which are on the average 1 week a month.
Well, that's great. It's good that you get to take that time and still run the business.
It works out.
Yeah.
You can balance it, but it takes a lot of dedication. You got to work your butt off during those, say 3 weeks. Or if we're going to take 2 weeks, we got to work our butts off for 6 weeks and get everything repaired and picked up. Empty the place out. It takes a commitment, but it's worth it.
And how many hours would you say that you and your wife Marilyn are working?
I would say together at least 80. Yeah, at least. Probably more. And if you count the time from 8 o'clock in the morning that I get phone calls and answering emails, because people send emails a lot with pictures, questions about a particular repair. That adds a lot of hours in the mornings before work and in the evenings. And even on vacation, I have the calls forwarded from the shop to my personal cell phone, and I answer. So, anybody that has a question can call me at any time.
Wow. Well, that's hard to enjoy a vacation totally when you're still connected.
But it feels good to be in touch with the customers, because rather than getting a phone machine, which is kind of impersonal, I don't like voicemails and press this button, that button. And they get a person. And then I say, look, I really appreciate your understanding, but we needed to take some time off. And we'll be back, such and such day. And when we come back, they wait. It's just they're lined up sometimes on that Monday when we return. Yeah. So.
It's still good to be just away and have a different scenery to look at and things to enjoy. It's
so good.
Very relaxing.
Yep. We've taken several trips. I think, let me see, a few trips already this year. We went to Canada for 2 weeks. I think that was in March. And we went to South Carolina for graduation in July. The trips keep coming.
And what's coming up next?
We will be going down to New Zealand. And we'll be exploring the North Island and the South Island. That's a trip that came up through my wife's Rotary Club. She's in a Rotary Club of Del Norte Rotary Club of Albuquerque. And it's a Rotary Friendship Exchange. So we're going to get to actually see how other people live, because we stay with 5 different families, 3 days and 3 nights each. So that'll be 15 days. And we're going a little bit early to go down to the South Island to check out the fjords.
Wow, that sounds like a lot of fun.
Should be a lot of fun.
And do they do the reverse? Will you host a family?
Absolutely. And that's the part that's we need to remember, reciprocity. So we are committed ourselves. We have a guest room and a bathroom waiting for those people to come in our spring. We're going in their spring in October. They're coming in our spring in April. And so, yeah, they're going to get to see the Southwest. They might also see some of El Paso and maybe Carlsbad Caverns, some of the nice sites in New Mexico, because there's so much to see in this beautiful state.
Oh, there really is. Do you take shorter trips around the state to enjoy that as well?
Yes, we have done that, especially in 2020 when there was a, lockdown and we weren't supposed to leave the state. We have a van that we built out into from a cargo van, we built it into a personalized RV that fits our lifestyle. And, we can fit the kayaks under the bed and stuff. We went to every corner of the state. I mean, we saw everything from, Cosmic Campground just outside Reserve, which is a dark sky place where astronomers go to see the wonderful constellations you can see in New Mexico, down to southern places like City of Rocks, just all over. There's just so much to see in this state.
Well, tell me about your family. Is there any continuity plans for the business with family?
I wish. Things are different now. I look at some of my friends, maybe a plumber whose son is going to take it over, or a shoe repair, and our kids, went off to different directions, and grandkids. So we got 9 of those. And so, yeah, we don't have that option. Yeah. So I don't know. That's a big question mark. But we are at 37 years. Now, I've been doing this for 37 years. And I'm going to make 40 years. And then maybe we'll consider what we're going to do for that.
Wow. So continuity is the question, if that will continue or not down the road.
Well, if my customers had any say in it, they keep telling me, you cannot retire, you cannot retire. And I tell my wife, see, that's why I didn't retire, because they need us. They need us. I mean, it is such a value-added service, Carla. To see things being recycled gives me joy. And also, people come in with things that are sentimental value, and they want them refurbished, So, yeah, I mean, it's a valued service. And I will try my best to see continuity in the future for this business.
Well, it's relatively unique as well. I don't know, do you have competition in this field?
As a full-time luggage and zipper repair place, I would say no. There are some places that will dabble a little bit in some of the fringe things I do, but a full-service repair shop, as far as I know, we're the only one in New Mexico, and it's been that way for at least 20 years. When I went into business back in 1988, there was at least 3, maybe 4 other places that did luggage, and they call it luggage repair. And I added the zipper repair because that became such an important thing. But I ended up by say the early 90s, buying their stock out when they gentrified out. They went out of business.
Oh, really? Wow. So you actually have a business that brought in others under your roof, and now you're the only. Well, yeah, you're going to have to find some continuity for the state. I know. My phone's buzzing as we speak right now. People contacting us, and it's definitely, and they come from all parts of the state, and sometimes even Arizona, Colorado, Texas. Yeah, we see people come from different places. I've even had stuff shipped to me from New York, far away places, California. Do you advertise in other locales?
I don't. I had dreams of advertising in Inc. magazine and stuff like that, INC magazine. I haven't done it. It's it's coming in at quite a steady rate anyway. The website's amazing. I mean, people just, if you're in any of the lower 48 at least, and you Google, zipper repair, luggage repair, tent repair, golf bag repair, it's going to come up. I'll come up probably at the top or top 5, and that's how they find out about us at abqrepair.com.
Wow. So it sounds like you have enough business that you don't need to do that kind of advertising.
At this point, don't need to. Yeah,
that's great.
They find us.
If it did pick up, would you go back to hiring employees and expanding that way?
Things would need to change right now in our state in particular with some of the laws that are being passed that make it difficult to have employees. It makes it a bit more complicated. So I'm holding off on that for now. Not only is there the bookkeeping and stuff, but there's things like the, PFML, Paid Family Medical Leave Act, stuff like that, and other things that can make it difficult for a small business like myself. And then, there's lots of things. So I think we're gonna be status quo for now on that.
I can understand it. That's a difficult situation. What do you think is the biggest challenge you've had to overcome, and how did you do it?
Biggest challenge. Whew. I gotta look at my notes. Well, I mentioned earlier about the 3, obstacles that we got through 9/11. I had to basically retool my marketing. That was a big one. I went off from airlines and went to sporting goods places, like, golf places and all kinds of stuff. Sporting goods. I've even done like punching bag repair because they're heavy and they hang from the ceiling and the straps break. So, places that recycle sporting equipment like that. REI is a big place that, if there's stuff off warranty, they send it to us. Also, Lieber's Luggage, they're 100% retail, great retail store in New Mexico. They are sending repairs. So there's that, and then just the general public. And about maybe 10 to 15% of my business is repeat. I don't want to get too much into a dark side, but right now there is issues with security and crime, drug abuse. I see a lot of that because I'm in Nob Hill now. I used to be on San Mateo, northeast, 2 blocks north of Lomas for 26 years, and I've moved down now to Nob Hill, and I've been in Nob Hill for 11 years. It's considered East Nob Hill. It's right at the edge of historic Nob Hill, 300 feet from Route 66, which will turn 100 next year. And I really have invested a lot, and we own the property that we are in now in Nob Hill. So I've, have a big stake in it. And so, I would say that's an issue, but we deal with it. We just, avert any danger that's not yet come by keeping our doors locked and stuff like that.
Mm. What's the one thing that you would want people to understand about the work that you do, the industry you're in?
That I love what I do, and we love recycling. I was green before green was cool. So I like to say, we got that symbol on our website with the arrows, recycle. Recycle whenever you can. I love recycling. I love to see people get their things back. They put it back in service. It could be a lawyer going in for an important trial, and he wants that beat up piece of crap looking, but expensive leather bag, and he wants that fixed up because it's got some, patina to it, some character, and then you get people who love to camp, and they love this tent. Some tents are 40 years old, and I replace the sliders on them and get the zippers working. So but I get a joy out of that. And the other joy we get is meeting people and hearing about their travels. I mean, I have traveled the globe virtually, Carla, in this business. I mean, we've had everything from a 98-year-old woman in maybe this was around 99, and she drove in herself, parked on the street in her, I think it was a Ford Fairlane 500, walked in, she was in great shape, 98 years old, and said, please fix this bag. I've traveled with this so many times, and I want to take this. This might be my last trip. And, stuff like that. And, I've had, sports people come in, maybe a parent who's getting something fixed for their kid that just, got a scholarship to go to college on soccer or baseball or something, and they want patches sewn on or a zipper repaired, heavy stitching done. It's just been really great to meet all these people, and the trips that they've taken around the world, just amazing places, islands that you've never even heard of in the Pacific, other countries. There's one guy that I met who's become a good friend, and he, I believe, has been in 96 countries. He's showed me his passport with all the stamps. So lots of interesting stories.
Wow, that's great. So when you look at New Mexico and the business environment, if there was one thing that you could change about that, what would it be?
The people that we elect. And I can change that by my vote. My vote is my voice. We have to make sure voting is fair and unbiased and untampered with. Oh, that's a big issue, especially if you look at some of the sites out there that are looking at evidence of what's happened in past elections. So it's really important to do your research on the candidates. Everything from school boards, that's the foundation, right on up to city councilors or mayor, governor, and everything in between. That's the most important thing. Be informed. Don't just vote your party. I've always prided myself on voting the person and the platform, not the party. Vote for the correct P, person, platform. Parties should be immaterial, really, because really the parties are, we say black and white, red and blue, but most of us are a blend of both.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And that's what makes New Mexico, the diversity, interesting. But I think you're absolutely correct. It is very important who we elect because that is the future of our state and our country.
For our kids, our grandkids, what they're being taught in their schools. Yeah, it's and that's the foundation. That's what I'm looking at as my 3-year-old grandson. He's one of many of the future of New Mexico, and hopefully will stay here. We know lots of people are opting to move for various reasons, but we need talent, and there is a lot of talent in New Mexico. I'm a musician. I see tons of musical talent. I could name 6 people right now that are people on 1,000 albums that were studio musicians in Los Angeles, and they live right here in Albuquerque because it's a great place to be. It's a great home base, right on up to scientists. I've had astronauts in my shop. It's a great place.
Did they need luggage to go to the moon?
Not quite. It was more earthbound.
Well, it's been a pleasure talking with you today. Any last parting words of wisdom?
I would say to any aspiring small business person out there, my formula to making a business a success, because I've been doing this 37 years, is planning, patience, and perseverance. Those 3 P's, planning, patience, perseverance. When I first started out, I drew up a 5-year plan, and I achieved 90% of it by the end of the 5 years. And if I hadn't have drawn up that 5-year plan, I might not have achieved 10% of it. I mean, I captivated all the airlines, most of them. Some still sent to a place in El Paso out of state because they didn't have to pay the airport fees that I had to pay, 10% at that time. And but you make a plan and then be patient. I can remember thinking, if I can just survive this first year, I'm going to make it. And then after that first year, I was like, it's not going to be just 1 year. This is like, I better stretch it to 5 years. Even after 5 years, you can't get, high on your haunches and think, I'm success now. Every 5 years, you got to make a plan and keep it going and never rest on your laurels, and you'll keep it going.
Well, that's great. Joel with Albuquerque Luggage and Zipper Repair. Thanks for being with us today.
Thank you, Carla. I appreciate the opportunity.